All right, so let's talk about Simplicity 2226. So first of all, I just want to show you some things on the pattern envelope and tell you why I selfishly picked this pattern. I love that it has a gathered skirt waistband here and then a flare at the bottom, which means it's not going to be clingy to the hips. I also love that it's got pockets, which I think every outfit should have, should be the law. And I do like that there's like a sash belt where you can kind of tie in another color that's in the skirt. So to decide what pattern envelope to get, you need to look right here at the top, and on mine it says size A, and then within size A, these are all of the different sizes in this envelope. So if you're a size, let's say a 10, don't just assume that this is the envelope for you, because a 10 here is different than the 10 in clothing you wear. So let me show you what I mean by that. If you look at the back, you'll get a better understanding as to how to determine your size. So for that, you're going to have to bust out that measuring tape and do a little bit of measurements. So you'll need to, it says to measure your bust, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to wear this skirt around your chest. I hope not. You'll definitely want to measure your waist. And it says the hip, which is 9 inches below your waist, to measure that. You might as well go ahead and do that, even though it is kind of an open hip. So when you measure your waist, you're probably going to want to measure it where you're going to wear it. I'm going to measure mine just a little bit below my belly button. And once I've got that number, let's say that it's within this range, then my hip, if ideally it should fall within this line right here, but if my hip is over here, which is more than likely, I'm still going to stick with this number because it's an open hip. And then when I take this number, I then kind of go downward to see my pattern size. So I'm going to go down, and that's my pattern size. So I'm a size 14. Usually I'm a 12 or 14 when it comes to Simplicity patterns. And then that will help me determine how much yardage of fabric to buy. So if I continue to go down, it says that for a skirt that's in A, pattern design A, which I'm going to go with A because it's a little bit longer, I would need 2 yards of fabric. And then it says for the tie, for the belt, 1 1/4 yard fabric of contrasting fabric if you're going to do the belt. And then it also calls for interfacing, which we'll talk about in just a second. So the back of the envelope tells you exactly how much yardage you'll need to buy and whether or not you actually fit within the size range in this envelope. Right up here, it's calling for different fabrics. These are all the different fabrics you can use. I'm going to stick with just a cotton, quilter's cotton, like I always do, and we'll talk about that in a sec. Right here it says notions, so let's chat about that. You'll need a zipper, thread, obviously, and a hook and eye. All right, so let's talk about these supplies. So this is actually the fabric that I'm thinking about going with for the skirt. Like I said, it's just a quilter's cotton. I almost always sew with it. It's easy to sew with. It stays put. It's not wiggly under your machine. This is my main fabric, possibly, so 2 yards. And then this could perhaps be my belt fabric. I'm thinking that would be a cute contrast to go with this. And I believe that it said for that 1 1/4 yard. It said to get thread that matches. So for me, it would be something like that. A zipper, it called for a 7-inch. Mine's a little longer. It'll still work. It also, I forgot to read on the envelope, it calls for something called bias tape. And that's what you're going to use to create a bind around your pocket. So I probably won't use this color, but I did want to show it to you because it's the only one I have. Double fold bias tape. It's just a piece of fabric that's been cut on the bias, folded once, folded twice. So look for this when you go to your local fabric store. And the last thing you're going to need is interfacing, and I'm assuming, although I haven't read the pattern yet, that interfacing is going to be used for the waistband. Interfacing is really thin. It usually has some sort of adhesive that will stick to the fabric once it's been ironed. And on the envelope, it did give us the dimensions, 3/4 yard of lightweight fusible interfacing. Fusible meaning when you iron it, it's going to fuse or stick. So there you have it. Now you have the fun part of shopping for 2 different kinds of fabrics that match, getting that zipper, some coordinating thread, your bias tape, and your interfacing, and soon we'll be ready to start stitching away. Thanks, guys.